the one, the only, Ben Sion.
Good afternoon and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube, Just Daf It, as we do a new daf today, as we do every day. Gittin, Daf Nun Hey, number 55. I was telling my wife the other day, I just need a day off. It's killing me, this daf Yomi, I'm telling you. But instead of a day off, tomorrow we're starting some Haggadah that a lot of people are familiar with around this time of year. It's like 3 weeks. We're doing that Haggadah of Tisha B'Av. People are allowed to learn that on Tisha B'Av. A lot of people will frequently learn this Haggadah Kamsa, Bar Kamsa on Tisha B'Av. We're starting tomorrow. You know, I was joking to somebody and I said, you know, I heard the rabbi in West Hempstead, which is a modern Orthodox community, he was talking about the Daf Yomi. He said, Meir Shapiro had Nevuah or Ruach HaKodesh that he set up Daf Yomi to work out with events in the calendar. You know, I think I was there for Pesach. Somehow in Masechah Sota we were learning that it was related to Pesach. Wanted to dop him. So what would he say about this? Obviously, this you can't get any better than this. During the 3 weeks, you learn the only thing in basically Shas that talks about the Churban HaBayis. Perfect. So I said to some cousins who came over for Shabbos, said, if Rav Meir Shapiro really had Ruach HaKodesh, you think he would schedule it for the first week of the 3 weeks? He would schedule it for Tisha B'Av itself, right? What's the worst thing about Tisha B'Av? You can't learn Torah. You can't give any shiurim. I have to make up all the shiurim either before or after. The best thing would be to have part of that Haggadah on Tisha B'Av. I wouldn't miss a day to give it a shiur on it. So the proof is that it's not Ruach HaKodesh. It's just a coincidence. Let's start the Mishnah on Daf Nun Ham and Aleph. The Mishnah says, fourth line, Hey Rabbi Yochanan ben Gugoda ala charisha she'esiya avia she'yotze beget. Rabbi Yochanan ben Gugoda, this is recorded in Masechus 80. That's the Mishnah over there also. There are certain teachings that he taught. The last two teachings are relevant to our parak, which talks about Tikkun HaOlam. One of his edus, one of the testimonies, what about a chareshas, a woman who's deaf, that her father can marry off if she's a ktana, right? As long as a girl's a ktana, she's under the age of 12, and doesn't have siman, her father can marry you off midoraisa. Her father can marry you off. Even though the chareshas, marriage normally is only rabbanan. If she got married herself, the father marries off. It's a marriage doraisa. She yotze beget, right? So if you have a biblical marriage, the only way for her to get it is a biblical divorce. She does get a biblical divorce. I'll explain, because you don't need the woman's das. And even though a charesh is lacking basic fundamental knowledge, it doesn't matter if she has intelligence or not. She yotze beget. V'alakana bas Yisrael shenitzes lakohen she'acheles betruma. This is talking about a girl who's a ktana, she's under the age of 12, who was married to a kohen. She didn't get married by her father. She got married through her brothers or her mother, which is only a marriage d'Rabbanan. Nonetheless, she eats truma d'Rabbanan. We'll see in contradistinction to chareshes. If she gets married herself, she does not. If her marriage is also d'Rabbanan, she does not eat truma d'Rabbanan. The Mesa Baila, nowadays pretty much all of truma is d'Rabbanan, because the mitzvahs Hatluya Sars only really know when the Mesa is around. When the Mesa is not around, mitzvah Hatluya Sars only d'Rabbanan. The Mesa Baila Yarsha, included in this halach also, that if she dies, a ktana, she dies, her husband, even though there's only married midrabanan to him, and normally a husband inherits his wife. That's on a biblical level. They're Masaki also on a drabanan level. The husband inherits his wife. Let's say you stole a beam and you built a house. You're a thief. You built your house out of a stolen beam. Shito is dama of netakana tashav. Even though technically you have to return exactly what you stole, we don't make you destroy the entire house. Just pay her the value of the beam so you can keep your house. So otherwise people wouldn't admit that they did the wrong thing. They don't want to destroy their whole house. A korban chatas which was stolen. It wasn't known to the public that it was stolen. No one knows about it. They're masakin and that it's machaper. We'll see it's their rabbanon or their rice. It's machaper. In order to fix something for the mizbeach, the Gemara explained these words. The Gemara says, "Amar Rava, medusa shar Yochanan ben Gugoda, Amar le'edim." From the words of Yochanan ben Gugoda, basically he's telling you that a woman doesn't need das for gerushin, doesn't need her knowledge. Amar le'edim. He says to two witnesses, "Ru gezesh and la." Look at this get. He shows them a valid get. I'm giving it to this woman. And he went to the woman his wife, and he said, "Here's a bill that you owe me money." He didn't tell her it was the Gerish. She accepts it. She accepted. She's Megoreshes. He said by Chareshes, you don't need her das. Here also, you don't need her das. Even though she doesn't know it's a get. It's okay. She accepted it's a get. Where it says Pshita, it's obvious. Since he went ahead, after he spoke to the Edom, he told her, he didn't just give it to her. He said, this is a shtar chov. This is a document which states some sort of loan that you owe me money or someone else owed me money. So he was mavata what he said to the Edom. He said something to the Edom, and now he's nullifying what he said to the Edom. Kamash Malan, no. He said the batle la Edom have amarlu. If he wanted him mavata, he would have told the Edom, not the woman. The reason he said this is a shtar chov and he didn't just give it to her is because he's embarrassed to divorce his wife. Now, Aktana Bas Yisrael, right? The second thing in the Mishnah that Aktana Bas Yisrael, she eats truma. So the Gemara says, "Ilu chareshes lo achla." However, if she's married, a chareshes, her marriage is derabbanan. Regular chareshes, either she's younger than 12 years old, but her mother or brother married her up, or she's older than 12 years old, right? Her marriage is derabbanan. A cheresh and a chareshes only have marriage derabbanan; they can't be married without raisa. However, she does not get to eat truma even derabbanan. My time. What's the reason? Zera shema yachil charesh bechareshes. Because we're concerned when a cheresh marries a chareshes, he's going to feed her truma. What's the problem with it? Katan ochel nevelasu, right? Again, a person who's a katan, right? We don't have to. It's a machlok in the Maseches Yevamos. We possibly you don't have to separate him from nevelos. A katan has no knowledge. If he's eating nevelos, Basin does not have to go tell him not to eat nevelos. You can't feed him nevelos. Basin doesn't have to separate him from nevelos. And a cheresh or a chareshes are in the same category. They lack basic intelligence. Again, we're talking about who's a deaf mute. Now they just can't hear. They also can't speak. So they're lacking basic intelligence. So again, it's like a katan eating nevelos. Why do we care if they eat truma? The Gemara says, we're concerned if a deaf mute is married to a woman, a fully mentally competent woman, he's going to feed her truma. But if he's a kohen, but it's a valid marriage d'Rabbanan, so she could eat truma d'Rabbanan. Because if you allow them to have truma d'Rabbanan, they're going to come to have truma d'Oraisa also. Let's say you have a beam that was built in to your house, was stolen. Tana Rabbanan, Gazel Marish of Benova Bira. You stole a beam and you built a palace. You have to, if you want to do tshuva, proper tshuva, you have to return the beam. Destroy the entire palace and return the beam. He can't ask to destroy the palace, he can ask for payment for the beam. Mishum takanas hashavim, which is like what our Mishnah is saying, in order to make it easier for people to do tshuva, otherwise they're not going to admit that they did wrong, because they're going to have to destroy their whole house. So achad is agzula. The last thing in our Mishnah, a korban chadas that was stolen, it's mechaper, as long as it wasn't publicized. Amar ula is var Torah. According to the Torah, bein noda, bein lo noda, whether it was known or not known, ena mechaperes. The korban can't offer kapara, because it wasn't really hektish. My time, yish kedi lo kani. When you steal something and there's just yesh, right? When you steal something, normally people give a hope they're never going to get it back. However, in order to be kona something, the Gemara Bava details you need either a shine maise or a shine reshus or a shine shem. You need some sort of change along with the yesh. This is how we pass it. This is yesh kedi lo kani. So why does our Mishnah say that if it wasn't known, it wasn't publicized, it offers kapara? Technically, the rice shouldn't offer kapara. The kohanim were eating from the korban chatas, right? They're going to be upset. They ate something which was not consecrated. It wasn't actually korban chatas. They think they're doing a mitzvah. They're actually eating something which is not consecrated and actually stolen. The Mishnah says the reason they instituted the takana was for the mizbeach. This seems to be the kohanim. Amar lahem, he said back to them, Kevan the kohanim atzevim. Since the kohanim are sad, nimsa mizbeach batel. If they're sad, they're not going to trust the validity of any karbanos. They're not going to be willing to bring any karbanos because they think they're going to all be stolen. So therefore, it was not publicized. Then we allow it to go through. Now it doesn't answer the question. The kohanim are still eating something which is not consecrated, right? They're eating something which is not a korban. So we'll try to answer that in Ben Sion. Rav Yehuda Amar. Rav Yehuda says, argues on Ula, Dvar Torah beinoda belonoda mechaperes. If it's stolen, it's mechaper. It's good hektish. It was a good korban chatas. My time, a yeyesh k'di kani. There's yeyesh. Stam, here we're talking about gezel. When someone steals something, gezel, as opposed to gneva, you take it in secret, you break into the guy's house. Gezel, you take it from his hands. He knows. He despairs of getting it back. And that's kona. You don't need a shina maisa according to Rav Yehuda. We don't pass like that. Umatam, top of non-ham would be, Umatam amru no da'ina mechaperes. So why does the Mishnah say that if it was publicized, it's not mechaper? Technically, it's mechaper. It's a good korban. You're kona it when you offer it as a korban. It's a good korban for you. Shelo yom mizbeach alchol gzelos. Because if it's publicized, we don't want a bad name to go on the mizbeach. The mizbeach is being mechaper, is bringing korbanos that are stolen. So therefore, if it's not publicized, we don't make a big deal out of it. It's a good korban. If it's publicized, we say, bring another korban. Whereas the Bishlam al Ula, according to Ula, hain dekani chatas. That's why it talks about a chatas, a korban chatas, right? Like he explained that the kohanim are eating from it, they're going to be sad, and they're not going to bring korbanos from this mizbeach. Ela Rav Yehuda ma'ir chatas afilu ola nami. Why is it specified a chatas? Right. The whole idea is the fact that it's a bad reputation for the mizbeach. It's more of a bad reputation by an ola, where the entire thing is brought to the mizbeach. Chatas is not completely consumed on the mizbeach. Then where it says, "Let me buy gomer, let me buy a ola." Of course, ola the kolilchi. That's going to be a big embarrassment for the mizbeach. Ela afilu chatas nami the chaylev adam would the salik l'gam mizbeach. The only thing you put on the mizbeach, it's burnt in the mizbeach, is the fats and the blood. The kohanim eat the rest of the animal, and it's not such an embarrassment in the mizbeach. They still made a gzeira, and they said it's not mechaper, doesn't affect atonement, so people shouldn't have a bad name, say something bad about the mizbeach. Tanan. Mishnah said, according to Ula, the takana was, right? It's not mechaper. Tikkun mizbeach, it says mechaper. Nicha. So according to him, right? That was a takana. Achat is a gzula shalano de l'rabim. It wasn't known. They made it takana. They said it works. And it's mechaper. El Rav Yehuda ipchami boile. According to Rav Yehuda, the tikkun mizbeach is not in the case of shalano de l'rabim. It's the case of no de l'rabim. When it's no de l'rabim, then masakin it doesn't work. When it's publicized, that people shouldn't say bad things on the mizbeach. So the Gemara says, "Hakinami kamer lo no da mechaper." This is what the Mishnah meant to say. If it wasn't publicized, mechaper, which implies no da. If it was known, ain't mechaper. It's not mechaper. Why not? And that's what the Mishnah concludes. When they take it on mizbeach, people shouldn't say bad things on the mizbeach. Meisiv Rava asked the following question: Ganav v'hikdish, he stole something. It's a Mishnah in Masach Baba Kama. He stole an animal of a hikdish, and then he was makdish it. V'achach tavach o machar, and then he slaughtered it or sold it. Normally the halacha Masech Baba Kama talks about this extensively in Perek Meruba, is that if you steal something, right, stealthily, you break in privately and you steal it, so you pay kefil. If it's actually a shoroseh, right, it's an animal, that's a kosher animal that you stole, and then you went ahead, after you stole it, you either slaughtered it or you sold it, you're chayav dal v'hei. 4 or 5, you're penalized 4 or 5 times. The Gemara will discuss that in Baba Kama, more about that halacha. However, let's say you're makdish it before you're tavach machar. You're makdish it. So once you're makdish, it becomes hektish. Even though you slaughtered and sold it after it became hektish, there's no penalty of dalad v'hei by hektish, only when it comes to people's property. So, Betani we taught a brayso about that Mishnah. B'chutz ki agavna anash kares. If you had shechted outside of, right, he stole it, and then he was makdish it, and he shechted it, and then he shechted it outside the azara, shchitas chutz, right? He's chayav kares. Now there's halacha. If you shech something hektish, really hektish, you shech it outside the azara, you're chayav kares. V'amras yish k'di lo kani. If you say, like, ula, like yish by itself is not kona, kares ma'avite. Why is there kares? Right? It's not hektish. It's not hektish. It's not. You're not shechting. It's not. You're shechting. Shchutei chutz. That's what did I say? Chulin bazar. Shchutei chutz. That's what it's called. When you shecht hektish outside the azar, it's called shchutei chutz. If it's not hektish, there's no kares. Amar Rav Shizbi kares midivrayim. Rav Shizbi says no, it's kares. Seemingly he means the rabbanon. Achiku alach. They laughed about him. Kares midivrayim miika. Is such a thing as kares midarbanon. Kares is only from the Torah. Hashem punishes you. Amar Hu Rava. Rava said back to them, the people that laughed at him, Gavra Rab Amar Milsa, a great man said something. Lo sachuku Allah, don't laugh at him. Kares she'al yindei divrayim basala. Okmur rabbanon b'shusay keichid lechayav Allah. Through the rabbanon, you're chayav kares. Not chayav kares the rabbanon. It's chayav kares through the rabbanon. The rabbanon do through hefker based on hefker, put it in his rishus, even though technically according to Ula, Yish is not Kona. When he's gone up and hikdish, and he shechs it chutz out of the azara, so they put it in his rishus. They gave it to him, ownership over it. So therefore, he could be makdish, right? You can't be makdish something if you don't own it, right? That was the problem. If you hold Yish Kili is not Kona, so how can you be makdish something? It has to be in your rishus, b'shalom and b'shuso, to be makdish it. If it doesn't belong to you, how could you be makdish the animal? The answer is that Rabbanan hefker based on hefker and put it in his rishus, so therefore he can be chayav karis daraisa for shchutei chutz. I'm a Rava. Rava said, Havada kami barli. I have a following question. The Rabbanan, according to Rav Shizbi, put it in his rishos, so he be chayav on shchutei chutz. When did they give him ownership? When did they say hefker based on hefker? The time he stole it, or the time when he's makdish it? Someone says, what's the difference? Right? If they put it in his rishos, shas gneva, let's say he sheared it in between gneva and hekdesh, or it had children, right? That would belong to the ganav. What's the halacha? Once Rava posed the question, since all the Rabbanan did this, presumably they only did it b'shas hekdesh, which was necessary to mechayev him for shchutei chutz, because otherwise a person who sins shouldn't benefit. That he should be zocha to get the gizos and the vlos, the shearings and the offspring. The Mishnah says, "Lo yasikrikun b'Yehuda v'arugi milchama." When we started talking about the chumrah bayis sheni, so at the time of Harugi Melchama, in the time of the siege and the conquering of the second base of Mikdash, destruction of the second base of Mikdash, that's Harugi Melchama, people were killed. There was no halachas of sikrikun. We'll see, sikrikun basically is sakarka, that's what it's short for. Take the land. They wanted to kill them, right? The Romans wanted to kill the Jews. The Jews said, take my land and don't kill me. So they gave up their land they didn't want to give up their land. It doesn't sound like it was extortion. It was just they gave up the land. Don't kill me. There was no dinim. We'll see. There's the Mishnah at the end will list certain dinim that apply to land that was taken in this way. After the war was over, even right, the first halakha is only in Yehuda. Yehuda was the area where the Beis Hamikdash was, right, central and southern Israel. Central and southern Israel. Northern Israel is Shomron. Yehuda, or the Galil. Yehuda is in the center of Israel. So the halakha of sikrikun do apply even in Yehuda. Ketzad. What are some of these halachas? Lachach misikrikun. The chazar lachach mibalabayas. Mekho bato. Right? What would happen? You would give up your land, and these people, the non-Jews, would sell it maybe to another Jew. So if you want the third person to be kohen this land from the army, the Roman army, lachach misikrikun, you bought from the Sikrikun, and then you bought the rights to it from the Balabai. You see, he still has a claim. The original owner just gave it up to save his life. He wants it back. And then he acquiesced. He got the Balabai, the original owner, to acquiesce and sell it to him. So the Mekho Bato, it's not a good purchase. Why? Because since you first got permission from the non-Jews, and then you got him, if he didn't give you permission, right, he wants to sell. He wants to earn a profit off of this, the non-Jew. If he's not going to agree to it, the first owner, he's going to kill him. So therefore, they're forced to do it, and therefore, it's not a good sale, according to the Torah. Balabayas, however, he went to the Balabayas first. Can I buy it from the Sikrikun? And then he bought it, Mekho Kaim. Then he was not he wasn't pressured, so it is a good Mekho. You buy a piece of land that belonged to a man. Right? The woman also has rights to the man's land because she has a lien on all his property to collect her ksuba. So he wants to first buy from the man his land and then get permission from the woman that even if he divorces her or he dies first, she can collect from this land. So, mekho bato. It's not a good mekho because we assume a woman is inferior to a man. A woman is not as strong as a man, and therefore she doesn't want to upset her husband. She really didn't want to sell her rights, but she did anyway. Menaisha, If you buy the rights from the woman, right? There she's doing it first, so we know that she did it willingly. Zu Mishnah Rishon, that's the first halacha. Based on Shalachareim, the based on afterwards, if you buy for Sikrikon, you get to keep the land, but you have to give 1/4 of the purchase price back to the original owner. That's only talking about where the original owner has no way of getting his land back. If they can get their land back, now they're willing to give them land back, to sell it back, then they get to purchase it. Rabbi Hoshev based him in if the land was in the hands of the Sikrikon, these non-Jews, for 12 months, there's no longer a din that the first person who owned it gets to buy back first. Once it was 12 months in their hands, because otherwise there'd be confusion a lot of how long it was in their hands. Once it's in their hand for 12 months, we assume that there's no more rights for the original owners to purchase it. Anyone who purchases it gets to keep it. However, if you do purchase it, you have to give 1/4 of the purchase price back to the original owners. The Gemara will explain why a Raviyah. The Gemara says, "Hashta ma'aruge melchama lo yava sikrikon. Ma'aruge melchama ve'elach yesh ba sikrikon." The Mishnah opens up that during the time of the war, right when the Romans conquered Yerushalayim, destroyed the Beis Hamikdash, in Yehuda there was no din of sikrikon, right? Ma'aruge melchama ve'elach yesh ba sikrikon. Right after they stopped killing the Jews, there was a din of sikrikon in Yehuda. Amar of Yehuda, lo danu ba din sikrikon. Right. The Gemara's question is, obviously, in the time of war, there was more people forced, who were they're trying to kill them. They're going to give up their land. What do you mean, Yehuda? That's a prime example of sikrikon during the war. So Amar Yehuda explains, "Oh, danu ba din sikrikon." No, as we see, the Mishnah tries to fix it for the people it was taken from. So that they didn't do during the time of the war. Any land that was taken in the time of the war, they didn't judge din sikrikon. Like we learned at the end of the Mishnah, right? Basically that he gets back 1/4 of the purchase price, or you can buy it back first. After the killing was done, yesh ba sikrikon. There is din of sikrikon. There is a way of getting 1/4 back or buying it first. Amar Yehuda lo danu. Lo danu din sikrikon kamar. The Amar of Asi said Gimel Gzeros Gazru. The Roman government, the Roman army under Titus, made 3 different gzeros. Gzersa kaimaisa, when they were first besieging and killing and destroying Yerushalayim, called the lo katil liktaluhu. Any Roman soldier who didn't kill a Jew and he had the opportunity, he should be killed. Mitziasa, the second gzera, was called the katil laisi arba zuzi basraisa. Towards the end of the war, where they already basically captured everything, they didn't want to kill the Jews. They wanted them to work for them or to be slaves. And we'll see in Agarit that we brought back as slaves to Rome. Called the katil laisi arba zuzi basraisa. However, they imposed a small fine. If you kill a Jew, you pay 4 zuzim. So they weren't afraid to kill the Jews. Basraisa, the last one, called the katil litdalu. Anyone who kills a Jew should be killed. Then basically the war was over, and they wanted all the Jews to be servants for them in Rome. Hilka kamaisa mitziasa. The first and the second zeros came with the katli agav unse gamar omakni. Right? They were basically going to be killed. Either the soldiers had to kill, or it was a small penalty if they didn't kill them. They were warriors. They were fighters. They wanted to kill the Jews. They had probably strong anti-Semitism, and they wanted to kill the Jews. So when these people gave up their lands in order not to be killed, right? So, like the Gemara in Baba Basra says, if someone extorts you, I'll kill you unless you sell it to me, and you sell it, it's a good sale. It's a valid sale. Basrai said the last one, Amri ha'idna lishkol l'machar tavan le'bedina. Later on, right? That's why the Gemara says after the killing was done, which is the time of the last gezerah, so then they had dinei sikrikum. Even a person would give up his land, he's probably not going to be killed, and there's probably recourse based in either in the Jewish court or the secular courts to get it back. Probably a secular court if a non-Jew took it. So tomorrow I'll go to court. I don't want to deal with this person now. He's probably not going to kill me. I don't want to deal with him now. I'll come and the Roman government will make him give the land back. So therefore, he never really planned on selling it, and therefore, he still is the rightful owner of it, and therefore the din sikrikon applies, even in Yehuda, basically that he gets either reimbursed 1/4, or if he gets able to purchase it back, he's the first one that gets the right to purchase it back. That's the conclusion of today's shir. We'll start the Agadah, the famous Agadah of the Churban Abayis tomorrow. Stay tuned for Enoch Ben Sion, where I talk about seeming contradiction in Psak, right? We have a machlokas on the bottom Nun Ham and Aleph between Ula and Rav Yehuda surrounding our Mishnah. Yesh Kidi is Kohen or not Kidi? Yesh by itself is Kohen or not? Ula says no. Rav Yehuda says yes to explain our Mishnah. They both have different ways of explaining our Mishnah. Now, we paskin, like you see in letter 10 over there, Yesh Kidi is not Kohen. But the problem is letter Yud, it says we pass like Rav Yehuda. So how do you pass like Rav Yehuda? Dvar Torah bechaper, according to the Torah, if Yesh Kidi is lo kani. How do you resolve that? Are you passing like Ula or Rav Yehuda? You can't mix the two. I'll tell you why you can mix the two. Ian with Ben Sion coming up next.